right, we weren't here last week, but now we're back again. It's Tim and Dom from NFL Talking Across the Pond and back. This season's going to get started. This season's going to get rolling. The NFL is fast approaching. Training camps in, I think, like 3 days. Dom, how are we doing today?
Yeah, all good. All good. Delighted to be back, rocking and rolling and raring to go and all that jazz. And I think I put about 3 different metaphors into one sentence and that didn't end well for me. But never mind. Hopefully no one noticed. By me explaining it, no one would have noticed. It was fine.
I said you could have just let that one go, everyone said. You would have been fine. All right, Dom. This is the big show. This is the start of the season. This is our time to shine. We got to show people that we're ready to talk NFL. Our knowledge is just spectacular.
Yeah, we need to show people we're not on the bubble.
We're not in the bubble. We should be in the bubble.
We're making the roster.
we're making the roster. We're making the final cut. We're the diamonds in the rough. We are that player. I want to talk some sports here. We're talking some football, of course. I got a couple things right off the top of my head, and we're gonna go around the NFL. Well, not really, but I want to start with the Texans. Now, Deshaun Watson. I think everyone knows what the issues that Deshaun Watson is dealing with currently, with the sexual misconduct charges, not charges, they're all civil suits. I think there's like 30-something civil suits filed against him. He's actually going to be reporting to the Texas training camp with all these legal issues. My question to you, Dom, is this how big of a distraction? Now no one's expecting much out of the Texans this year. How much of a distraction do you think this is going to be for a franchise that's already got enough distractions because some people are predicting them to go like 1-16?
I mean, I suppose it depends on what happens and how quickly this all rolls around. I mean, do I think it'll be a distraction for the team? Not necessarily. Is it a distraction for the player himself? Almost certainly. I don't see how it can't be. And he's going to be everything that offense revolves around this year. And if he's not fully focused, it's not going to help. And, they have got a poor roster. There's no question about it. They have a poor roster and they are going to struggle this season. But I can't help but think having Watson in your starting team and starting at quarterback makes you stronger than not having him, even if he's not fully focused, because the alternatives there are not great. I think it's Tyrod Taylor is a backup QB there. I think if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
who is serviceable enough as a backup, but a backup you're not asking him or wanting him to play all 17 games.
Well, that's what I was saying. As a backup, you don't want him to play. You don't want him anywhere near the field.
No, exactly right. Your backup is your backup for a reason, and it's the most important position on the team. So, look, I think the Texans are going to struggle all year, regardless of Watson's issues, and Watson doesn't want to be there. I suspect he's now going to have to be there.
Hold on, right there. We're gonna have to hit pause a second.
Deshaun Watson.
Hold on, it's Deshaun Watson calling in right now. Hold on, Dom. All right, you know what? That wasn't Deshaun Watson on the phone. That was just. We're not even gonna get into what that is. But Dom, you're basically saying Deshaun Watson is not going to be a distraction because you know what? There's already just a huge distractions and with the Texans, anyways. But I want to talk about something else with the Texans because I do find this interesting and it has to do with the Bears. The Bears just traded Anthony Miller, the wide receiver. He's been in the league for 3 years, 134 receptions, over 1,500 yards, I think 11 touchdowns, to the Texans. Now, I'm bringing this up because, like I said, we are rocketing around the NFL today. I bring this up because the Bears, outside of Allen Robinson, who do they have wide receiver-wise that's going to help Justin Fields, their rookie quarterback? I mean, why do you think – now, I understand it's from the Texans' point of view why they would make the trade because they gave up a late-round draft choice. Why do you think, though, the Bears, who some think, could rule the NFC North, would make this type – now, I know Mr. Miller is not the greatest wide receiver. He's going to give you maybe 30, 40 catches, between 400 to 600 yards. But with your dearth at the wide receiver position, why would you make this trade?
Literally, right now, I am just actually checking their depth chart because I don't from the Bears, I don't know. Like, you're going to start with Darnold, I'd have thought. Not Darnold, Andy Dalton.
Right.
It's presuming who you're starting there. But, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it and thinking, there ain't a lot there.
They've had wide receiver issues for years, and like I said, they got lucky when they got Allen Robinson, but now
it was undoubtedly been great for them. But I'm looking at that, and I'd be worried about that depth chart there. I'm literally looking at it right now.
So what names do we have on the depth chart? I didn't pull it up. What names do we have?
Marquise Goodwin is probably.
He was a former wide receiver for he was with the 49ers. More of a punt returner. Had one good year with San Francisco.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. One good year that I can recall. I was going to say if you could do more, but clearly not. Darnell Mooney.
Well, that's a big name.
Demir Bird, Riley Ridley, Javon Wims, Chris Lacey. I mean, we are talking like Jerry Rice, Steve Largent.
Yeah, well, those are all those big names.
Yeah, I believe I'm at number 7 on the depth chart.
well, keep going. Maybe there's a name we might know.
I'm pretty much done.
Did Des Bryant come out of retirement? No, Bryant's still playing in Baltimore.
But I mean, from both points of view, I mean, what did they give up to Texans to get it?
They're just saying right now that it's a late round draft choice.
Okay, well, then minimal risk for them.
Right.
Because, I think if I'm the Texans this year, I'm probably in a position where I'm trying to accumulate assets and start the rebuild there. But if they've given up great late round draft capital for him, then I don't think there's a big risk for them there. But from the Bears' point of view, yeah, like you say, he's not exactly a standout, but on a depth chart that is as weak as that, that they need him. And look, from a Giants' point of view, I'm ecstatic if they could trade out, a whole load of other wide receivers and offensive linemen, or all their best players. I'm happy because, of course, we have a first round draft pick coming from them.
So we want them to tank as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if they could go 0-17, that would be absolutely amazing. Of course, they're not going to. Let's be clear, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. You've got the likes of Dalton, who are going to start, who wasn't as good as I think people expected him to be in Dallas, and certainly not as good as I expected him to be if he got on the field. And of course he did because of Prescott's injury last year. He did struggle a bit more than I expected him to. But, he's, he'll start and then Fields will come in. And, both of those guys need as much help as they can get. And as you say, they feel they're going to be competitive this year.
Well, with that defense, you would hope they're going to be competitive this year, and I think that's the biggest issue. Now I want to keep jumping around the NFL, man. I want to go back to the Green Bay Packers, or over to the Green Bay Packers, and we're not just going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to talk about I don't want to be in Green Bay. It's King. I don't know what to do.
Well, I think we might be covering someone else that doesn't want to be in Green Bay.
We're going to talk to Devontae Adams, the star wide receiver who has broken off contract extension talks with the Green Bay Packers. Now, I'm not going to read into this as much as I would with the Aaron Rodgers thing, because he's still under contract. He's still showing up to camp. He's still going to play. A lot of players break off contract talks going into training camp because they use training camp as leverage, to try to get the contract done. So I'm not going to sit here and bash him as much as I've been bashing Mr. Discount Double Check. But I am curious, what do you think's going on in Green Bay? I mean, now Green Bay I would not say is the hot spot. Because for places to live. Now I'm like Dom. I'm disparaging all the people that live in Wisconsin, but I mean, what's going on with the Packers? Why is there so much discontent for a team that recently has been at times seems like always in the NFC Championship game? They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because they're never getting over the hump. But what's going on in Green Bay? They fired the coach who was the cause of all the problems. They bring in the new guy who everybody loves. They make the championship game next year, and now it's like, I don't want to be in Green Bay. It's key. Dumb. What the hell's going on with the Packers?
Well, I mean, you're a shareholder. You're not turning up for their annual general meeting tomorrow.
Yes, I am a share. I do have 1/16 of an eighth of a share of the Packers. I am an owner. I don't like to brag about that. I do tell everyone that all the time because maybe I am bragging. But
so I think it's a legitimate question you can ask tomorrow's come rain or shine event at Lambeau Field.
I will not be there because I am in transition, as some people know. I mean, I am the only YouTuber right now who is technically homeless. So, but Dom, come on, man, what's going on in Green Bay? What's the haps with this? I mean, the storied franchise, Lambeau Field, Green Bay Packers. I don't want to be here.
Clearly, there is something wrong, and I think Aaron Rodgers is a prickly fella. He's a complicated fella.
I always like when you call him a prickly, complicated fellow. I always enjoy that.
Action on that one. But yeah, I just wonder how much the uncertainty and the issues arising from the Aaron Rodgers negotiation is filtering through. Adams and Rodgers have played really well together for the last however many years. Was it last season, 18 touchdowns from Adams? Obviously Rodgers was throwing those balls nearly 1,400 yards.
It's amazing
between them. But I just wonder whether these players, and Devontae Adams is certainly a top 5 receiver in the league, whether he's thinking, look, Aaron's gone after this year. My contract, I think, is up at the end of the year. I don't know what the future holds for this franchise and which direction we're going in. You'd assume it's love, but you'd assume from Adams' point of view, he's thinking he's not the Messiah. He is just a naughty boy. And congratulations if anyone gets that reference. He's thinking, I wanted to go and try my luck elsewhere, and I'm going to try my luck in free agency and see who wants to come and pick me up. And he just thinks this is the last year with Green Bay being having a run. Things are going to enter a rebuild, and I just wonder if it's that.
Well, I find two things interesting. That Aaron Rodgers threw his balls 1,400 yards. I can't throw mine that far. Sorry. And also,
one throw. What a throw, though. I mean,
I don't know. Mine seem to be attached and they come back. So I don't have to throw them that far. Second of all, they can franchise tag him next year.
They could. That is true. They could do that. But if he signs a new deal, then there's no guarantees that they trade him either. So,
Right. Well, like I said, I think he's going to. I don't think he's going to sit out.
He's not going to sit out. No, yeah. I don't think so.
I don't see any consideration into that. But I see the. You know what happened? I just got a news alert. France stuns Team USA. Rallies from 83 to 76. Wow. Well. How about that?
I'm going to go with basketball at the Olympics.
Yeah, the dream team in basketball lost. They're not such a dream team anymore. But like I said, they could tag him. They could do anything, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just can't figure out. Like I said, in Green Bay, they did all these things to change the culture. They kept saying change the attitude. They brought in the new young hip head coach. They got rid of the old guy, and everyone was supposed to just fall in love and fall in line. And now it's just kind of like, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird to me that they can't work this shit out in Green Bay. That they can't.
We can't always guarantee that it's gonna work out, right? Whenever you're going to change a culture or anything like that, there's no guarantee, as you say, that it's going to work out. And look, last year they did really well. NFC Championship game. They lost to Tampa. Probably shouldn't have gone for that field goal, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. But they're still a good team. You still have them up and amongst the favourites if you didn't have this shenanigans going on with Rodgers right now. And even then, even with it, he's going to be there, and I still think he's going to play this year, and therefore, they're still up there. But how much is he going to play with a chip on the shoulder? Is that going to take him to a new level, or at least match last year? Because when you're the MVP, there aren't many levels to go up.
Right. So there's not many levels you can go higher.
So annoyed he doesn't play.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And then we have another wide receiver as we're rocketing around the league. The Saints, Michael Thomas. He's expected to miss the 2021 start of the 21 season. He underwent ankle surgery back in June, I guess it was, to repair ligaments. I didn't even know he had ankle surgery in June. But I mean,
no, I didn't see that.
I think it's good for the Giants because I think he's supposed to miss the matchup against the Giants, which is early in the season. Do you think, with everything going on and the transition that they kind of have going on quarterback wise to Jameis Winston, I think Hill still is going to have an opportunity to win that job, but how do you think this is going to affect the Saints without Drew Brees, without Michael Thomas going in maybe 4 or 5 weeks into the season? Do you see them going 1-5, or 1-4, 0-5? Or do you see this just being another speed bump in the road for Sean Payton, who seems to somehow always pull something together with the Packers?
I mean, firstly, Sean Payton is a wonderful coach. It helps when you've got a quarterback like Drew Brees, right? But
right, yeah, to me that always helps.
I mean, you're going to take him over a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, not necessarily now where he's clearly gone. I mean, he's retired, but
right.
I mean, he was clearly struggling last season. But, Michael Thomas he's going to be a big loss for them, no doubt. I think this is a season for transition for them. And I wonder whether this sort of leads to more. I think they're trying to still win now, and I think they still think they're in win now mode. But I don't think they are. I don't think they're in that bubble anymore. I mean, they could take the division maybe, but I don't see them going deep into the playoffs. And I think
what do you see them being record-wise?
I'm missing him early on. I just don't see. I don't see them having the best of seasons. I think they'll be somewhere around about 8 wins.
8 wins, really? So we're rolling into January, and you see, or end of December, and you see 8 wins for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I mean that was before the Thomas injury. I thought they'd be in around the 8 mark, but they think they're in their win now bubble, and I think to be there, you're going to need probably 10 wins in a 17-game season. Difficult to say because you've got no history about a 17-game season, what's going to be required. But
who do you think's going to be the quarterback at the end of the year?
I'm not sure who's going to be the starter. I think it's one of those interesting ones. I would go with Jameis over Taysom Hill. I'm not convinced by Taysom Hill as a quarterback, but at the same time, they're used to having a team that do not turn over the ball, and we all know what his issues were before he came to New Orleans. He would throw that 60-yard pass, brilliant touchdown from a non-touchdown scoring position, and then he'd go and throw a ridiculous pass, and that was never on into triple coverage, and it'd be yet another pick. So you never know what you're going to get with him. But I wonder whether he will. I think it's his. Although people are saying it's Hill, I wonder if it's Jameis Winston's job to lose at this moment in time, and then it will depend on how he goes. I don't know what you think on New Orleans, because I'm suspecting you're not quite where I am with them.
I think that the Saints, they've always had problems on defense. Their defense has played well. I'm still worried at times. I'm still worried about their secondary. I have to worry about any time you lose a franchise quarterback like Drew Brees. You have Hill, and if you take a look at the 3 games that Hill started, they were, let's see here. He had 1, 2, 3. He was 4 games he started. He was 3-1. And then a couple of his games, he was 28 out of 38 for 291 and 2 touchdowns. The other game, he was 27 out of 37 for 2 touchdowns. I mean, he seemed, and he completed, which is amazing to me. He completed almost 72% of his passes last season. And I understand it was limited attempts, but he threw 121 times and he completed 77% of his passes. I think they may try to give him the shot over. I think they're going into camp saying it's Winston. I would not be surprised if Hill becomes the starter and they try to see what they have in him, because the worst thing they can do is ever just let him go, down the road and find out that he turns into the, second coming of, Bart Starr. Or something like that. But I mean,
we're getting there. But yeah, I mean that's a risk, right?
Yeah, that's the risk. But when you've got a guy on such a low, and they just gave him a new contract too. Like I think last year. He's almost a big off-season signing, right? Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, you're saying 8 wins. I'm saying 6 to 7.
I think with this injury to Thomas, I had them at 8 as their ceiling, and now this injury to Thomas, and I've just quickly pulled up their start. They start against the Green Bay Packers, where you'd imagine it will still be Rodgers under center.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Carolina Panthers, then the Patriots, then the Giants, where I would have put them probably as a potential chance to win that game. I'm not definite, but would have been a potential one. But I think without Thomas, I think the Giants would be favorites for that. And then Washington, with that defense, I just don't see them beating Washington. That's your first 5 games, and you'd be lucky to go two and three at that point.
Right. Well, no, I agree. Whoops, we got something coming. We got all these. I got all these technical difficulties today.
I think we just entered a horror movie, didn't we?
I think we did for a minute. There's somebody sent me it serves me right because I was watching something. I was reading an email. Something popped up and it was a horror movie. So it was my friend sent me something from The Shining.
I'm glad I'm that interesting. Hopefully our listeners are more interested. I got to say, but if that horror music is playing, I'm not opening that door.
I'm not going to lie, Dom. I tuned you out about half the show. I almost called you Chris last time.
I'll take that.
Oh, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Chris, the king of the idiots. We missed last week because I was in the process of moving to my homeless shelter. In my refrigerator cardboard box on the curb right now, as I'm homeless because I'm building a house. And we missed last week. What's that?
Single-handed building the house.
I am single-handedly building the house with a whole crew of other people who have a lot more talent in carpentry than I do. They're called contractors. But I do want to give out a shout out to Chris, king of the idiots, because we did miss last week, and he was upset by that. He was upset. So Chris, I'm sorry. It was all Dom's fault. I wanted to do a show. He said, "Don't do it." He goes, he says, "Chris is probably having a bad week. Don't do a show. Don't put one out." So let's all blame Dom.
Yeah. Because it definitely wasn't Dom sitting here on his laptop waiting for you to arrive. Definitely not. That was clearly a dream.
Well, I am.
He must have overslept.
I am so glad that we are all in. We are all in agreement that it's all Dom's fault because we all know everything's Dom's fault. Just ask my wife.
I'm definitely to blame. 100%. You can jot that down. It's all my fault. No problem. I'm a long way away for her to shout at me.
You're lucky. I wasn't so lucky 15 minutes ago. I want to talk about our favorite team, the New York Football Giants. I want to talk about some of the players that are on the PUP list, which is basically you like that. You like that, don't you? Because of probably some of the things. Anyone doesn't know
what it stands for. Yeah, I believe that can be fixed with a little pill. It's blue.
That's true. But of course, the PUP list is physically unable to perform list. Exactly, because that's why Max. That's what Dom. See, I don't even know the hell your name. That of course just it's just the players that are unable to participate in training camp. It's not really a big deal, especially at the beginning of training camp. It becomes more of a big deal at the end of camp because then you have to go on either the IR or you get cut or whatever. But some big names on the PUP list for the Giants. You have Saquon Barkley, Kyle Rudolph, Matt from Connecticut. Everyone who watches my show knows who Matt from Connecticut is. So if you don't watch my show on YouTube, Online Big Blue Sports Entertainment, then you suck, and I don't want to talk to you anyways. But Dom, and I laugh because you and I are big Giant fans. We follow the team. We follow them. I don't want to say religiously because I never think religion is anything that has to do with sports. But we are big fans. I mean, and you and I have both seen the Twitter father about all this garbage about the people panicking about people starting on the PUP list. And I laugh and I smile because of the fact that I always call them the Madden fans because they're fans that grew up playing Madden that think that, everything, the sky is always falling. And you kind of knew Saquon Barkley was going on the list because he had surgery in November. Kyle Rudolph
just didn't expect him to be on the list. Where have you been?
Yeah. And then also, Kyle Rudolph just had surgery. Matt is the one that concerns me a little bit. He's the offensive lineman out of Connecticut. I call him Matt from Connecticut because he's from Connecticut. He's got a back injury. But what do you think as a fan when you see other fans panicking when these type of things happen? And to me, this is just basic football 101. You can't perform at the beginning of camp. You go on the list that you go on. You go on the PUP list. And then when you get healthy, you come off the PUP list. You come off the PUP list anytime during camp, up to the very last day. But what is your reaction as a Giant fan, to seeing all these people panicking and all these videos come out and all these things on Twitter that he's on the PUP list. Oh no, this is the end of the world. I mean, what is Dom's perspective from the UK about idiot fans?
I mean, if you look for some of these guys, that is where it is. That they are there. For some of these guys, I wonder whether some of this is about, actually they're on the pup list because they've had this minor niggle, and they. If I remember rightly, and I could be wrong, you get to come in a couple of days early if you're on the list to get medical treatment.
Yeah, anyone's on the pup list can come in for medical treatment. Yes, you're 100% right.
And I wonder whether some of it is that you're just going, okay, we're going to put them on the pup list just to make sure these guys are ready to go for day one at camp. Let's get them in there.
They don't do. What they do is, because the pup list can't be for that. You physically have to be unable to perform. You can't just put the guy on the pup list so you can get him into camp.
But what I'm saying is they've had a niggle. They think they're better, and they're just doing that just to make sure. I don't know if they can do that.
Right.
But there is an injury. There is a legitimate injury. But they think they're going to be able, and whether they just get them in a couple of days early just to be able to test that out. I don't know. Just a thought. But look, it shouldn't be a surprise. Some of these names, I think you're absolutely right, and I'm not going to claim this point as my own because it was yours. But yeah, the Matt from Connecticut, Matt Pert.
He's Matt. For those that don't understand, when I say Matt from Connecticut, I live in the New York area. And there's a popular radio station called WFAN. It's all sports New York radio. And what they do is every time they have a caller come in, it's like, this is Phil from the Bronx. This is Johnny from Yonkers. So I just associated Matt Pert with Matt from Connecticut. So I kind of just throw that in.
And nothing to do with struggling to pronounce his name in the early days.
In the early days, yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's never good news if you've got a back injury in year 2 as an offensive lineman. But it could just be a really small muscular one.
Well, I just get worried anytime an offensive lineman has a back injury. You always have to be concerned. The new thing today, as I want to bring this up for the Giants, is the Giants NFL Europe player. What's his name? Do you know his name?
No, I don't know his name, and partly because all I can hear is your voice trying to say it.
So for the people that don't, I don't know the guy's name, but I don't know how to pronounce it. So I kind of just pronounce it any way I want, because and people get mad because I'll say, yeah, it's the guy from NFL Europe. It's Pasolasa Rosselfinger. Every name will be different, and then I get people that actually spell it out to me phonetically, and then I go, oh, so it's Masa Hasa Paselringer. So people are like. I don't know if people are enjoying it or getting pissed off, but I know I enjoy it. So. Flossing Gunner.
He's not going to make the roster, so I don't really pay much attention to him.
Well, that's what I always say, too. I say, he's not going to make the fucking roster, so what do I care what his name is?
He might make the practice squad, maybe, but
I think he'll make the practice squad because he's an NFL Europe player, and they're trying to build up that NFL Europe branding. So I could see him doing that.
Yeah. I mean, Iverlau is going back to the Hamburg Sea Devils.
He's going back to the. He's going back
in action as we record in a few hours' time against the. Oh God, they would be, wouldn't they? They'd be against the Panthers from an unpronounceable place in Poland.
One of the Dom, you were supposed to be up on the European, now not soccer, but the European. American football. What's going on? You're on Google right now looking shit up. Don't lie. If you're gonna, I love it because this is Dom. I'm not on Google.
You can tell when I'm on Google because I'm looking at the screen.
I can hear your keys clicking. So at least you're gonna lie right. Jeez, Dom, come on. Oh, lying to the listeners again. I have to laugh though because Dom and I are both wearing gray shirts, and I have to laugh because we both wear them very differently. I never noticed the size differential between the two of us. I'm not laughing at you because you're a little bit smaller than I am, but I was like. Looking at this, going, holy crap!
Mine is slightly loose fitting.
Let's just put it this way: we're doing a split screen, and I don't fit in the split screen. My shoulders don't fit in there. Dom, you look good though. I always laugh because
I don't know why I'm doing a thumbs up because no one can see me.
I know I do the same thing, and I laugh because I look at our cartoon that we have on the thing, and I'm like, yeah, they did a good job. I'm sorry. I'm moving, and it's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's what, Dom? I got nothing left. What do you got for me today?
What have I got left for you? I did drop a few.
You had all these topics last week, you said.
I had a couple, yeah. I prepared.
And you said you prepared and wrote them down. You said they were awesome.
I did prepare, and the reason I prepared was because I was sat on my keyboard waiting for you. I thought, well, I might as well spend the time wisely.
Oh my goodness!
But I had a couple of things, and look, some of this is old news.
No news.
What your views were on St. Louis suing the NFL for $1 billion due to the loss of earnings after the franchise moved out of there.
It is what when a franchise moves, the city that always the team leaves always sues the NFL. They always do. I mean, they're not going to win.
No, I mean that's my point. It's like, what's the point? No one ever wins.
Because I think a lot of it is they're going to sue them for $1 billion, so they'll put another franchise in St. Louis. Or whatever.
Do you see that happening? I mean, we talked about it's not going to happen, right?
It's not going to happen. No. They've had 2 franchises now. They've had they've had 3. They've had the St. Louis Browns, they've had the Cardinals, and then they've had the Rams. So no, they're not going to continue to dump money into a city that they can't sustain an NFL franchise. Jacksonville can sustain an NFL franchise.
What it's doing. I was like, yeah, they've had 2, and then you went 3. I was like, yeah, I forgot about the ones that just moved out.
Yeah, you forgot about that one. Those Rams, those pesky Rams.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I don't understand the point. I'm presuming the point is they know they're going to lose. That's the leverage they're going for. But I suppose it's a bit of publicity for the city, and hopefully,
I think it's like I said. I think it's just for them to try to force the NFL to put another franchise in. But like I said, they put another franchise in Baltimore because they had the fan base. That was there. They consistently sold out. It was a stadium issue. Same thing with the Browns. The Browns left for Baltimore because of the fact that it was a stadium issue. It's the same thing with the Colts. When the Colts left Baltimore, they went to Indianapolis because of a stadium issue. So what's happening is, and now St. Louis Stadium is not state of the art anymore. It's not since Kurt Warner played. So what happened is, again, the team just left, and them suing the NFL. Like I said, if anything, they should be suing the Rams, not the NFL. But like I said, they're just using it for leverage to try to get another franchise. But the NFL is smart enough, and maybe they're not smart enough because they put 3 franchises in St. Louis, to know that they can't keep dumping money into St. Louis because it's just not there. It's just they're not selling the merchandise, they're not selling the tickets. So I mean, it's either here or there.
A different way. We talked about franchises that might be moved by the owners or look to be moved by the owners. But do you see the NFL moving another franchise anytime soon because of these issues? And if so, which one?
The Packers. Because Aaron Rodgers don't want to be there because it's Iggy.
I can't do that historically, but you never know.
No, they're not. The Packers aren't never going to leave Green Bay. That is a storied franchise.
It's an institution.
That's institution. The Bears would never move. The Giants would never move. The original teams, and I can't really say that because Baltimore was one of the original teams. But the original teams right now are probably not going to go anywhere. If I had to think about a franchise moving, I initially thought it might have been Jacksonville until they landed Trevor Lawrence. So, I can't see them. I see Jacksonville. Like I said, I was a season ticket holder for 2 years at Jacksonville. It's when they're winning, the city really supports the team. So I think with Mr. Khan going on, that he's smart enough to understand that he is going to have the opportunity to really build something in Jacksonville. But I can't see them. I can't see them moving. I'm just trying to think. I really can't think of one off the top of my head. Did you have one in mind?
2, but one I don't think. But both I see have sort of bright future ahead of them at the moment, which makes it difficult. Chargers, because there were 2 LA teams. I mean, there were 2 in New York, but there were 2 LA teams, and it's not necessarily an NFL city, and they struggled to sell out the stadium. Obviously, no one sold it out last year. And the other was the Bengals, but the
Bengals are another original franchise.
No, they're not. But I'm just talking about the 32 now. The Bengals, but they haven't really invested in the stadium, the facilities, etc., etc. But I wonder whether the Joe Burrow effect might just sort of change things. Although I don't think they're going to have the best of years this season because I still don't like the line. They have a genuine superstar who is a local lad to build around. I just wonder whether that might help paper over some of those cracks where that owner hasn't invested. But they were the two. But I don't see. I think we've talked about it before, but I see expansion rather than movement as the most likely way to sort of bring the NFL to new places.
My other thing about with Cincinnati is Cincinnati, even winning and losing, is kind of like they've always had a strong fan base. They're kind of like the Giants in some regards, that even when the Giants are bad, they always sell out.
Yeah, it's not the fans that are the issue there in terms of the sellout. It's the investment into that franchise from the owners. And would be my thinking behind the potential for them having an issue.
Yeah, I don't see the Brown family moving Cincinnati. I mean, like I said, I think again, the Brown family original owners. I always felt it funny that the Brown family owned the Bengals. So, I don't know. I mean, that's and you're right with Joe Burrows. I think that and they actually had a good run, with Andy Dalton and what's his name? Was it Marvin Jones or whoever the coach was? I can't remember the guy. Coach off the. That's how much we like Cincinnati. But I can see the Bengals. I can see the Bengals thing.
There for a long time before Burrow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Being honest,
Dalton was there for years.
Yeah, and look, Dalton did a reasonable job. He was a perfectly reasonable starter.
Yeah, you also had Carson Palmer ahead, before him. Right? Carson Palmer led him to a bunch of playoff. Their problem is they're like the Colts. They couldn't get over the hump.
No, for many, and like I say, I like their quarterback. We'll see how he comes back from injury this year, but they still haven't got that line to protect him.
Right, that's an issue.
But there we go. But we'll move on, and I'm going to continue your theme of moving around, and I'm going to go back to LA, having just mentioned the Chargers, which I don't see happening either, certainly with Herbert there. But Akers is out for the season. I wonder, and everyone's sort of saying this is terrible news for the Rams. I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world for them, but in that competitive division, how do you see that affecting the Rams?
To your point, I don't think it's the end of the world. Will it cost them games in the win-loss column? That's what they say. I outside of your quarterback, everyone can be replaced. In my opinion, in sports, I mean, but the quarterback to me is the one position in the NFL. If you don't have a guy that can back him up or can play at the same level, then there's going to be an issue. But to me, losing one player outside of your quarterback does not equal more losses in that column. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but that's just my opinion.
Generally speaking, I would agree with you. I think there's the odd player in the opposition which is just such a standout that you could make the argument for. For instance, if that was Aaron Donald that was missing from the Rams, you could argue that's going to have a bigger impact.
That's what I'm saying. Someone like that, like an Aaron Donald, yes, an all-pro, not a Pro Bowler, an all-pro, all-world like Aaron Donald, yes.
But you're talking about a limited number. But I agree with you positionally that probably 28, 29 teams in the league without their number one quarterback really struggle. I don't see many teams missing their running back and not being able to still pick up wins and results.
That's the thing.
Change the way the offense will run or defense, depending on what the position is, but they can survive that.
And that's the thing. It's not a position that you can't replace. In my opinion, it's not, and I'm not thinking that it's a guy. I'm not diminishing his value to the team. But the Giants lost Saquon Barkley. They couldn't generate a running game, and to me, it wasn't more of the fact that they couldn't generate a running game because of the running back situation. It was more of the fact of their line. But then, what's his name came in? What's the running back that came in for the Giants? The guy that used to play for the guy that played for the Falcons. Who then got waived, which I didn't understand. Who was actually playing? Well, he got hurt and then he got waived. But he came in and he ran the Devontae, not Friedman, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
He came in and was successful to a point. He replace Saquon Barkley? No, but the offense still moved. But the Giants had other problems besides losing their running back. They
did it by committee, right? And I think
right, exactly.
Bring in someone else,
and then they had Wayne Gallman, who probably should have carried the ball more. I don't know why the trust wasn't there. He would have a good game, and then they would give him 15, 20 carries one game, they give him 6 the next. So,
yeah,
I mean,
they were inconsistent. We were in there, Dion Lewis, and they had what's his name? He was about 56 years old as well.
Alfred Morris.
Alfred Morris, yeah. But they did it by committee, and I think that's how the Rams will go. They're presumably they'll run with Henderson,
right.
who played quite well last year. They're bringing someone else from free agency, I would imagine, and they run it by committee. But do you know what? They've got Matt Stafford. They're probably going to throw the ball more. They just need to develop. I'm being very simplistic about a game plan here. Develop enough of a run that they don't. Or the other team aren't just defending for the throw because they still got to worry about the run.
Right.
But they're not going to be overly reliant on the run. Offense.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it's going to make much difference. In that division, it might cost them a game, maybe 2.
It would be different if they lost Sam Bradford. I mean, not Sam Bradford. Yeah, if they lost Sam Bradford, that would be a different story. If they lost Matt Stafford. Thank you, Sam Bradford. I don't know why I got Sam Bradford on my brain today. Yeah, but if they lost Matthew Stafford, that would be different.
Yeah, particularly alongside it. And like I say, maybe one game they lose because they're not quite so effective at running the ball in division, possibly 2 across the season. But I don't see that. I think they'd be fine. I think it's just going to be a really tight division still. But it was interesting to see are the Rams no longer the favourites for the division because they lost a running back? No. They didn't lose a Barkley or a McCaffrey.
Right. They didn't lose.
He's not that level of running back.
But even with the loss of Christian McCaffrey in Carolina didn't miss that much of a step.
No, they didn't do too badly.
No.
Considering based on their expectation level,
I was going to say based on their expectation, I think they would have been at the same spot with Christian McCaffrey there.
Yeah, maybe one more win, maybe, but but I agree. I just think it's that one in the. It's a bit like we were talking about the pup list with the Giants earlier. It's that, oh my God, there's an overreaction from a fan base and people trying to generate something to talk about where, at this time of year to get people sort of worried or fired up or whatever it is. And I'm with you on that one.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you on that one with me. What else you got?
Should I go for my final thought?
You're going with your final thought? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
Draft, baby. Yeah.
Are you going with the final thought? Oh, wait a minute. If you're going for you shocked me there. You're going with the final thought.
I know. You covered off the other bits.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
Draft, baby. Yeah.
It's Dome's lightning round on the final thought. I'm
slick as always. We're prepared.
You know what? I mean, like I said, I'm not joking. I am in the transition of moving, so we're staying at a relative's house. So, for a couple of weeks, for last week, I didn't have the soundboard set up. But I actually have my whole studio set up now. So I have everything ready to go. So we know it. We know what we're ready for. We're ready for Tom's
draft, baby. Yeah.
Well, final lightning thought.
That button's never going away, is it?
Never.
No, I might just give your wife a call after this and keep you in the basement.
I'm in the doghouse, not in the basement.
I was going to say you'll be moving to Cleveland after this.
I will be in Cleveland.
You see what I did there? It's slick. One of us has to be professional.
Which one is that? Which one is that?
I was going to say it's a shame it's neither of us. But I'm going to have a bit of fun, and it's a topic we covered earlier. But I want to revisit Washington. They've announced the fact that they're not going to name their team this year. They are not going to announce a team until 2022. And I find this absolutely ridiculous. To be perfectly honest with you, I find it quite amusing. I also find it amusing that they were going to call themselves the Wolfpack, which happens to be a pub from a very poor, although I hate all British soaps anyway, but a very poor British soap. So that I really wish they'd gone with that because I would have had a lot of fun. But yeah, I just find that absolutely ridiculous. But I think that we should do our best to support them on this show. And I think we should try and help solve the naming issue for them so they don't have to wait till 2022. So I think we should have a poll. And And I think that we should help them out by having a poll and seeing if they should be, as opposed to the Washington no names, because that's what we disparagingly call them,
right?
Whether they should be the Washington wavering, or whether they should be the Washington shilly-shallies, because we know they can't make a decision. And I think both of those names would be suitable for them, and we should have a poll and help them out. What do you think?
I'm going to go something totally different. I had a name in mind, and I'm going to go something I'm actually being serious here, because I was thinking about this last week when I was moving. And I was thinking, because they really do need to have a branding. They really do need to have a name. And I don't want to slow down the show by being serious, but I'm going to go with the Washington Redskins.
Go back to what they were before.
Go back to what they were before. Give the whole league a big F you. Go back to where they were.
It would be a very Dan Snyder thing to do.
It's funny though, and I think a lot of people don't realize this. Yes, there are some people in the Native American community that find it offensive. But there's also a very, very, very large segment in the Native American community that don't care. And they even said, but it seems the minority is overriding the majority, because the Washington team for years supported Native American communities. They gave them equipment, they gave them money, they gave them all this, and that's probably going to stop because they did it because of the namesake. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right for them to stop that. But like I said, I think there is and especially in the States now where everything's kind of going towards a counterculture and everything's kind of going towards everything's racist and everything's derogatory. I loved growing up in the 80s and 90s because you can say whatever the hell you wanted. But I think a lot of people are missing the fact that they are getting away from helping these communities that they were donating and supporting. And then I saw the other day that one of the names that got crossed off the list, which was a fan favorite, was the Warriors. And they're saying,
I would have gone with that.
And they're saying, though, that is still a negative connotation to the Native American community. And I always laugh because I don't know, because I'm old, and there was an old movie called The Warriors in the 70s about street gang. So I always think of those warriors. I don't think of the term warriors as, Native American. I think if someone's a warrior, they're just a battler. They're a fighter. I don't know. I'm not a kind of guy that defines race to a term unless it's blatantly a racist term. But, but there's certain words that people are just trying to take now and everything's like, well, that's just racist. You're a racist. I always tell people, I anytime something goes wrong, I always ask people, am I a racist or a sexist? Because those are my two. Those are usually the two things you are now, if you say anything. So
yeah, but, I'm not from the States. I'm failing to see the connection between the Warriors and the issues you outlined, but maybe that's my ignorance of the history in the US. But you've got other franchises and other leagues of Warriors, right?
Right. You have the Golden State Warriors.
Basketball is a Warrior, right?
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. Look at me and my history of other US sports.
I know.
Although I do follow baseball a little bit, to be fair. The Yankees are going well, I notice, at the moment.
See, now there's the thing about that. I'm offended by the term Yankees. Because the Yankees is a term that they used in the Civil War to describe someone that's from the North. I think that's racist. I'm also against, there's a restaurant here called Cracker Barrel. Cracker is a negative connotation term for people that live in the South. See, everyone can be offended by anything. That's just what kills me.
I also thought you were offended by it because they, kicked you out once because you didn't tip. But that could be completely made up on the spot.
That wasn't Cracker Barrel. That was not the Cracker Barrel.
That was every other restaurant.
That was every other restaurant. Dom, come on. I'm not that cheap. Well, maybe.
I'm joking. I jest. But but I wondered what you thought. Whether we should help them out though.
I think we should. I think
it's our civic duty.
I think it's our civic duty. We will do a poll next week. What do I have here? Do we have I'm just texting my wife at the same time of doing my show. She's asking me if we have a Swiffer duster. She's saying, "Do you have a Swiffer duster?" No, I don't. On me? No, I don't have a Swiffer duster on me. But yes, next week we are going to do a show that is going to be. We're gonna name it. Name those Washington blanks. And I think we should do it as a live stream.
see if we can help him out. I think Dan Snyder will be appreciative. And look, it will save him a fortune. He doesn't have to get that marketing company hired who did such a good job of coming up with the Capital First Nation football team stuff that came over earlier. Because obviously that was top quality stuff. He can just get me and you to do it, and we'll do it for half value, I reckon, and save him a few $100,000. What do you reckon?
You know what? I'm down for just doing it for free.
Yeah. Particularly, let's do it for the free divisional rivals. Let's us name the Washington.
Let the Giant fans name the Washington blanks. And honestly, I am going with the Washington blanks.
Given their recent history, presumably they'd be the Washington Walkovers, albeit they will not be a walkover this season. Not this season. Good football team if Fitzpatrick is anywhere near average at quarterback.
Did you ever see the movie At the World's End with Simon Pegg?
No, I didn't actually. I'm not a big sci-fi. Tom Cruise, right? I remember Simon
Pegg.
Oh, Simon. Oh, that one. Yes,
yeah,
I did. Yeah.
And it's the blanks. The blue bloods. Or no, they call them the blue bloods. Or Smashy Eggman, and they said they call them. It's the blanks.
I think that was an unofficial trilogy of movies.
Yes, it is. It started with Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
and then it went to Super Fuzz. And then it went Hot Fuzz. Thank you, Hot Fuzz. And then it went into, of course, the World's End.
Yeah. That's the one I don't remember quite so well. But
that was the last one.
It was the last one.
That was the last one in the trilogy.
Yeah, the other two I've watched more, 2-3 times probably. Certainly in bits and pieces, if not all the way through that many times. But that one I've only seen it once. But yeah, they go on the pub crawl.
They go on the pub. They go on the pub crawl, and they call the robots the blanks.
Yeah.
So, but I was thinking, of course, we couldn't use that for the Washington team. But one of the other names that I enjoyed, I was thinking they could use for the Washington teams, and that was Smashy Eggman, because the heads broke open like eggs. Or they called them the Blue Bloods. I'm telling you, man, we could save Dan Snyder so much money.
Yeah, I think look, we're sold. We're sort of out for them in the coming weeks. But I mean, that's all I had. Right, we're going into training camp. There's going to be some big news stories in the next few weeks as teams start to make those cuts.
We'll have more to talk about next week. And you know what? This show has completely gone off the rails, and we're going to end it way late today. And again, this is Tim and Don from NFL Talk from across the pond and back. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for listening. And we're going to see you next week with actual NFL news. Good night, everyone.